So you're going to do something, right? You're going to record on your end, but you're not going to record on cloud. Record on your PC, so that it's the recording would also be on your PC while I'm recording on cloud, because I can't record on my PC at the moment. That's fine, right? Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for today's section. Thank you for joining. I'm really excited about today's section because I'm very certain it's going to really help us in so many ways, right? Being able to understand some policies. I think one of the challenges that quite a number of SMEs and business owners have is that we don't have adequate knowledge and information to, policies that directly affect us, directly affect our disposition towards, directly affect our entire approach towards in building our business, right? There are policies that the government enacts that directly affect how we do business, regardless of how you see it. And one of such policies is the new tax law, right? I think the last time we had something similar to this was about 2 decades ago, when the president then announced a law that also, I think it was not a tax law. I'm trying to think of the exact law exactly now. I'll get to it now. When we had that law enacted, the truth is some of these laws that have been enacted have a very huge impact or huge effect on us as individuals, on us as business owners, right? And it's necessary for us to understand the terrain. And I'm glad because this year, when the government signed in the law, the new tax law, it was not effected like immediately, right? They gave us 6 months. It was signed in June. They gave us 6 months to. For me, I think that 6 months was for us to educate ourselves properly on the tax law itself. The 6 months was for us to educate ourselves properly on what the law looks like. And for me, if we don't do that, when the law is fully in operational in January, it will just stumble on us, and we just can't. We'll not. I don't want us to be in a position where it seems like we are lost guard, or we are not well positioned to understand how it works in real time. It's something I don't want to happen. I don't want it to happen to any business owner here in our community, right? So for me, what we try to do is to speak to the right people, engage with the right policymakers, and even those who interpret policies, right, and see how we could create a very necessary interaction that can help us to really understand these policies and how these policies affect us directly, right? So today I'm going to be having Mrs. Victoria, right? Um, you know, Sorry, 1 minute. Let me get her profile up. So I'm going to be having Mrs. Victoria here. She's going to be talking about this new tax law. She's going to be helping us understand, the entire component of it, how it affects us directly, how we can apply it as business owners to be able to, scale our business, to do excellently well, right? So Miss Victoria is not just a tax coach. She has been in this industry for 20 years. Currently, the she's currently the South. I think she's the PH and the South Regional chairman of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria. Right. She has over 20 years working in tax. And one of the things she does is she's a financial strategist. She helps Nigerian entrepreneurs and professionals leverage new tax exemptions, optimize their compliance strategy, and build robust personal wealth systems. Right. So she helps you understand why you are exempted, okay, and then how to plan your next growth phase, to securing your financial future, and help you with some major tools that help you, to master the every aspect of your money, right? So she's a money person, someone that I have been privileged to be a part of, I've learned from, and I have seen value from, right? And I'm very sure that her section today is going to really add a lot of value to what we do already. And you're going to get the best out of it, right? So without further ado, let me officially hand over the mic to Mrs. Victoria. why she takes it up from here. Thank you so much, Ma, and over to you now.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody's seeing me. Are you seeing me?
Yes, yes, I can see you. It's good to see you in person.
All right.
Open
Good
my
evening,
video. I can
everybody.
open my video. Ah,
Yes.
hi, good
All
evening.
right.
Bola Ahmed. I'm seeing a Bola Ahmed in this. Okay, so Bola Ahmed, hi, good evening. I don't know if you're our Bola Ahmed people, but welcome.
All right. Good evening, everybody. So I am so glad to be here. And I was so proud when Mr. Treasure asked me to do this for this community, because this is so proactive. And you're going to get tremendous value, if I have to say that myself. And I'm going to kick in right away. There is no time to waste. Okay. You saw the title earlier on, Winning in Business Under the Nigerian's New Tax Law. Okay. What every business owner needs to know to stay compliant, reduce tax, and attract opportunities. Guys, this is very important. And there is nothing more important than doing that on time. And Mr. Treasure was very right in saying that the government gave us 6 months. 6 months because this particular change in the tax law totally overhauled everything that we knew. Even for us as professionals, it's totally over. We have to relearn what is being provided in the law. So for that reason, it is something that everybody, there is so much learning to do, and there's so much strategizing to do as business owners to take full advantage of what it offers. Okay, so we're going to be going straight into it, and let's start right away. So winning in business. So this is the most significant tax reform in Nigeria's history. It has completely revolutionized everything as far as taxation is concerned. Okay, this is so significant. And it was signed into law by the president on the 26th of June, and it takes effect from 1st of January 2026. Okay, 6 months from today. Okay, so who am I? Mr. Treasurer has already tried to explain who I am. I have 20 years experience in the finance landscape across banking, across audits, consulting, all of it, everything finance, I have done it. Okay, and happen to be the current chairman of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, Port Harcourt and District Society. I have helped thousands in the old dispensation and still helping them right now as far as tax strategies is concerned. I'm also the convener of the Money Mastery Community, which includes a business owners hub. Okay, I probably put that it takes care of everything personal finance and tax strategy. Okay, and I have seen it firsthand that most businesses suffer. Okay, most businesses suffer from, not because they don't have a good product, okay, but because of poor tax planning, and because they just don't understand. Instead of planning the taxes that they're supposed to pay, instead they run away from the tax authorities and end up falling into the hands of touts. Okay, and then basic finance skills. So that's why it's become a passion for me to do all of this. Okay, the consequences. Okay, here I have a true story. A story here. I'll quickly tell the story. I put it on the slide so that I will not forget. Okay, this is a client of mine. Early this year, no, last year, just before the end of last year, she called me and she was practically crying. And I was like, okay, what is the problem? She said, one new company that I had just registered, enterprise. I have not even used it. I have not even used it. And imagine, FIRS sent me a letter. I said, calm down, calm down. FIRS sent you a letter. for a new company. How could they have done that kind of thing now? So I now took time to interrogate her. What happened? You say you have not used it at all. You say I have not used it. It's still in the certificate is still there. It's still in the packet. It's still in the envelope. I have not removed it. I say, okay. So how did they know your address? How did they know your company name? Is the company name correct? He said yes. Is the address correct? She said yes. Okay. So it took me like 15 minutes to get to the root of the matter. What happened? She needed to go shopping. She does a lot of buying and selling, and she needed to go and restock her goods. So she said, okay, somebody now told her there is this loan app, one of these banks online that can loan you as much as 5 million naira. And she said, oh, do you have contact? But all I know is they don't normally give people 5 million at once. The person said, no, with my influence, they will give you. So she said, fine. So she went. Then she tried to borrow with her name the loan, I call it a bank. The online bank said no, that they cannot give such amounts to an individual. They can only give that amount to a company. And she said, oh, I have a registered company. Oh, no way, no problem. She now gave them the details of the company and all of that. And she got a loan to the tune of 5 million. She completely forgot all about it. Okay, it took us like 30 minutes of questioning back and forth for her to remember that. So I now asked her, okay, so this 5 million naira that you got, what did you use it for? Was it for gari and soup in the house? And she started laughing. No, it wasn't for gari and soup. I took it to go and buy stuff. I said, fine. So you borrowed money from an online bank for business. And now the tax authority is writing to you to account for it. You know, Nigerians, we think that things that we do are hidden. Okay, I'm starting up with that story because this new tax law is a new dispensation. There is no hiding place. There is no hiding place. There is no hiding place. I don't know how many times I've said it. I need you to understand it. I mean, this was the old dispensation. And despite that, you see that the tax authority was able to track her. Okay, so that is the consequences of somebody who is ignorant, and we must not stay ignorant. If this is interesting you so far, it is time for you to quickly invite those who are not here because it is going to be hot. Okay, you cannot afford to be ignorant. Okay, if there's anybody that you love that is in business and the person is not here, do well to invite them right away before we get into the thick part of it. Okay. So the consequences of the ignorant client or the ignorant taxpayer, as you may put it, or the ignorant business owner or the ignorant individual, whichever way you want to put it. So that is so important. In this dispensation, there is no hiding place. So today I want to empower you to be able to understand the new tax law, be able to protect your business and position for success. This is so important. So what are these laws? I call it the 4 game-changing laws, the revolutionary laws. Call it whatever name you want to talk about, you want to call it. This is exactly what they are. Okay, number 1 is the Nigerian Tax Act, or NTA for short. This act consolidates and modernizes. I told you that the playing field has been changed. The laws have been changed. Laws have been repealed. The laws that we knew have been repealed. Okay. So the Nigerian Tax Act consolidates and modernizes all tax laws, that we knew. Okay, that is the situation now. And then put all of them together in one volume, So even as a taxpayer, you can request for and get the whole law. Okay, it will even be online. You can get it and then you can study it for the laws that concern you. Then the next one is the Nigerian Tax Administration Act. Okay, this one provides for the assessment, collection, and accounting for revenue for both federal, states, and local governments. You know, taxes are collected at all of those levels, at the federal, the state, and the local government level. And this particular law, okay, streamlines everything, states clearly what each of these groups are supposed to do, what they're supposed to collect, and it makes it uniform across the country. That's what the Nigerian Tax Administration Act does. Okay, then we also have the Nigerian Revenue Service Act. Okay, this one is very straightforward. It repealed the old law for the FIRS and now changes their name to the NRS. Okay, and made their duties very broad, because ideally they represent the entire country. They represent the federation. So that's why they are now called the Nigeria Revenue Service Act, because they are there for the whole country. Okay, then we now have the Joint Revenue Board Act. Okay, this particular one is a very, very interesting one, and it's a one that business owners must know. If you don't remember any other law, you must remember this particular one, because this one creates what we call a Joint Revenue Board to replace what we used to call the Joint Tax Board. But that is not the one that concerns you as a business owner. It also establishes a dispute resolution mechanism, okay, called the tax ombud. It also has, it also provides for the creation of a tax appeal tribunal. But the part that really concerns you as a taxpayer or a business owner is the dispute resolution by the tax ombud, because the plans are on to ensure that these tax ombuds can even take calls in Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, all of the languages across, so that if you as a taxpayer has issues, or you think the tax authority is treating you unfairly, all you need to do is quickly pick your call and call the tax ombud. They are there to protect the taxpayer's interests. So you see that it's important that you know that they exist and you know how to engage them. Very, very important. So now we need to understand this new tax landscape. I'm going to take you through quickly to be able to understand this new tax landscape. Okay, what are the key changes that you must know? Key changes that you must know. Number one, there is 50 million turnover threshold or 250 million assets threshold. There are two different things. Annual turnover simply means your sales, okay, as a company. 50 million naira as your annual turnover. If you're below, if you're at 50 or below, then you qualify to be called a small company. Or alternatively, if you have assets of 250 million naira worth of assets, then you are also considered to be a small company. Okay, so in addition, then we also have 800,000 naira personal income exemption. So as an individual, as an employee, as a business owner, as a person, your business is supposed to pay tax, and then you as an individual is supposed to pay tax. Okay, so that's one too. You as an individual is entitled to 800,000 naira personal income exemption. Beautiful. So beyond that, we also have the digital economy. These are new taxes that have been included. Okay, we have the 5% excise duty on digital platform transaction fields. I'm not going to bother to explain that now. I'll explain it later on as we go on. Then we also have 10% excise duty on virtual asset provider fees. Again, all of them is under the digital economy, and I'm going to be explaining that very soon. Okay, then we also have VAT updates. Okay, now a lot of other goods have been put under zero rating of VAT. In other words, things like books, baby products, medications, and all of that. In other words, even if you charge, you're supposed to charge VAT at 0%. In other words, there is no VAT on them. Okay, so, and then the VAT Act has been made more robust. Before now, not every business could claim VAT input and VAT output. VAT input is the one that you are charged as a business owner when you go to buy maybe your inputs, your raw materials, your goods before you resell. Okay, that's your input VAT. Output VAT is the one you charge a customer who comes to buy from you. Before now, only manufacturers could claim the input VAT they had put in. So business owners used to look for ways to recover their money because they have already spent VAT when they were buying goods. So now when they want to want to claim it, there is no room for them to claim it. So, but now the VAT Act is now saying, the new law is saying they can claim it. Anybody can claim it. If you incurred VAT at going out, then you can also claim a VAT output. So let's go on. So before we go on, okay, so as a business owner, this question is for you. Think back, think right now. Do you know your exact revenue for the past 12 months? Or even, let me say, the first 6 months, okay? Do you know it? Do you know it? As a business owner, do you know it? Have you seen that from the law? The law is saying we have small companies are companies who have a revenue of 50 million and below. Okay, so for you to be able to claim it, that means as a business owner, you should know how much revenue you are, how much turnover you have, or your revenue, how much income you're making as a business. If you don't know, then you better change your ways and you better reorganize and begin to know. It is so important. Okay, so moving on. These are some top critical changes. I've already quickly explained the VAT reform aspect of it. Then the capital gains tax reform. We also have the capital gains tax reform in the sense that before now, we used to have 10% on capital gains. Capital gains simply means when you sell something of a capital nature, the profit that you make on it, you're supposed to be charged tax on a different platform, on a different basis. It was formerly 10% for individuals, okay? But the law is now saying that the capital gains tax reform is now saying, okay, the kind of thing that you sell that attract capital gains are assets like maybe you sell a house, okay? Those kind of things are capital. Maybe you sell your shares. Those kind of things are capital. You attract capital gains, you know? So now the law is saying, as an individual, if you incur capital gains from anything, okay, it will be added to your income and then you will be charged accordingly. Then we also have the tax ombud, which I've explained earlier. The tax agent does not concern you. It concerns people like me. I told you we have to relearn everything again. Then we have the personal income tax reform, which is the 800,000. It's beyond that actually, but I'll explain even more later. Then we also have the CIT reform, which you have seen with the CIT reform also says that as a small company, you're liable to pay 0% tax. Okay, you're not liable to pay anything, but you must qualify as a small company. That means you have 50 million or 250 million valued of assets. Okay, then there is now more. It's now very difficult for you to have any kind of tax avoidance. Then we also have the withholding tax regime. This is very important. Just before the law was signed, there was what we call the withholding tax regulation that was published. Okay, the withholding tax regulation that was published, and that regulation already outlined ways in which taxes could be withheld. What does it mean for us to call something a withholding tax? Withholding tax is simply an advance payment of tax. Okay, so if you as an individual, even business owners have now been given authority to withhold tax for their fellow business owners. Are you seeing that? So the tax authority is making it difficult, and there are penalties for a business owner who refuses to withhold, especially if they find out that the person does not have a tax identification number. Hey God, these things are being tightened up. In other words, they are giving us a responsibility to be able to join the tax authority to do some of those things. So we cannot afford not to know what to do. So what does this mean for you? It means simply that if your revenue is below 50 million, please, if you're understanding me, I need to see some reactions. I need to be sure I'm not talking to myself. Can I have some reactions? Can I have some reactions? Beautiful. Can I have some reactions? Let me have some reactions. If you want me to go on, let me have some reactions. If you want me to go on. All right, I can see that, Gloria. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. So I can go on. Okay, so if your revenue is below 50 million, okay, you've seen that from all my explanation, you should understand that by now. Okay, then you'll be exempt from capital company income tax, capital gains tax, development levy. But this is what business owners need to know. You still need to file. Okay, you still need to file. It is not enough for you as a business owner to just tell the tax authority, oh, I am below the threshold. No, no, no. It is not your word that they want. They want to see it on record. They want to see your books. Okay, they want to see your records showing what you have incurred. Okay, how did you come to that realization or conclusion that you are below the threshold? So your records must bear you witness. That's what they want to see. So filing is required. You're still responsible for your VAT, your VAT. You're still responsible for your pay as you earn if you have employees. You're still responsible for your own personal income tax as an individual. You're still responsible. And another thing again, you can see from this is a news article that I put up here on my slide. Lagos in particular plans to tax freelancers, influencers, every single one of us that is earning money on the online space. Every single one. There is no hiding place. I don't know how many times I need to see this so that we can all realize it. Lagos is planning to raise 200 billion naira at the minimum. Okay, 200 billion naira as a minimum from this group of persons. Okay, and if Lagos is planning that, Lagos leads, every other state follows. Okay, so as Lagos is leading, as Lagos is executing, be rest assured that every other state will be following their footsteps. So take notes, okay? And it's okay, let me not go ahead of myself. Let me just quickly go. So preparing for success now and beyond the 50 million threshold. Sometimes people think 50 million naira is too much, that maybe if they are not making up to that now, they think, oh, it will take some time for them to reach 50 million naira. Guys, 50 million naira per annum is not so much. Okay, 50 million naira per annum simply translates to 4 million, just a little over 4 million naira. And if you're conversant with the online space, you know that a lot of people report making way beyond that on the online space. So 50 million naira is chicken change for some businesses. So that means if a business owner does not realize that they are not considered as a small business, they are actually a big business, and they are not prepared, okay, then they will be in real problem. Okay, good. So, but let's continue. How do you prepare for success? Right now, and then when you hit the 50 million threshold. Number one, record keeping requirements. You need to have record keeping requirements that protects you, protects your exemption. I told you that it is not your word against the tax authority. It is your records that is going to be speaking the English that they want to hear. Then you need to have digital systems to track this revenue in real time so that you know when you're close or when you have hit it. You need to know. You need to have documentation for audits and reviews. You need to be prepared because the tax authorities will come calling. Okay, you need to have monthly financial health checks. Where am I? How far? What are we doing? Okay, you need to have smart revenue management. You need to have timing your invoices and payments collection. In other words, when are you paying what you're owing, and when are you others paying you, people who are owing you? Okay, you need to optimize your revenue within this threshold. And I have another story here. Kemi's high ticket products. I have a friend, and her name is Kemi. She sells some high ticket products on the online space. And each of those products, one of them is some mini machines. One of those machines could just cost like One of those machines is just like 3.2 million naira. Do you get 3.2 million naira for one of those gadgets? Or take most of the phones that we have, okay, some of the iPhones, how much are they? So they are already in millions. And I said you only need 4 point something million naira to hit the 50 million naira threshold. Are you seeing that? So if you're selling things like iPhones and they are priced already high ticket products, that means you only need like 4, 5, 6, 10 pieces, and before you know it, you have hit the threshold. So what do? So we need to have that consciousness. It is so important, and prepare ahead. What are we going to do if we hit the 50 million naira mark? Okay. So what changes when you cross the 50 billion naira mark? What changes? Number one, the tax obligations kick in immediately. Remember, as someone who is below the 50 million naira mark, you have zero CIT, zero company income tax, 000. You're not paying anything. Okay. VAT, you only file for VAT if you want. If you choose, you voluntarily decide to file for VAT. Okay. You voluntarily decide to file for VAT. So beautiful. You do that. If you hit the 50 million threshold, immediately your status has changed. You have tax obligations to fulfill immediately. You have quarterly and annual filing requirements to fulfill. You have enhanced documentation. You have to do things the way the law has prescribed. You have advanced planning opportunities. Okay, and the law is even saying whichever kind of plan you're doing, then you need to quickly say so. You need to disclose what kind of planning you're doing. Okay, then you need to separate your business and personal finance completely. You know, as a small business owner, there is that tendency for you to dip. You want to pay your son's school fees. You said, oh, you draw money from company's accounts and you pay. You want to do this, you quickly dip hands in and out of your company account. No. By the time you hit your 50 million naira threshold, those kind of behaviors, you need to curb it totally. Okay, completely separate your business and personal finance completely. So you may as well start doing it now. Okay, while you're keeping your records for as a small business, you ensure that is taken care of. Then what else? You need to create reserves for tax obligations. I mean, there is no story. When times for taxes come, there is no story. Okay, investment strategy. You need to employ some investment strategies that may complement, okay, your tax to be able to meet your tax obligations. So what are these tax responsibilities that I'm talking about that you need, that will kick in? You know, whether you are still small or whether you've grown. What are these tax obligations as a business or as an employee or for your own as a person? Okay, number one, tax identification number. You need to register. Okay, you need to register. If you are not yet registered, between now and before the 6 months is up that we're given, you need to register. And you will still see why as we go on, that there is really no choice but to register. You will still see why very, very soon. You need to register. Number two, you need to keep records. By now, you should know that you should keep records, okay? By now, you should know. So you need to keep records, keep proper records of your sales, of your salaries, of your receipts, of all the invoices. You need to keep it, okay? Then VAT. VAT is filed monthly on the 21st of each month, but as a small company, it's voluntary. You choose whether to file, whether to start filing or not start filing. That is a choice. But if you're somebody that incurs input VAT, okay, and then you also charge output VAT, you see, it's coming in and it's going out. It is only by filing that you can recover your inputs. Are you seeing it? So as a small business owner, even though it's voluntary, you may choose to be filing. But once you start filing, guys, there is no filing today and then tomorrow you say I'm no longer filing. No, once you start, you have to continue filing. Okay, then payee is monthly. On the 10th of each month, you need to file your returns. You need to send your pay simply means pay as you earn. You need to send it to the tax authority. Then withholding tax. remittances. I've told you that withholding tax regulation came out just before the law was signed, and it says there are a lot of laws which even puts the collection in the hands of taxpayers themselves. Do you see? So, but that is not our topic for today. We're talking about the new tax law, okay? Then we also have the personal income tax. I told you, apart from payee is for your employees. You, as an individual, there's a personal income tax element that you have to pay, okay? That is where the first 800,000 is free and clear, okay? The first 800,000 is free and clear. 0% tax for every single person, okay? But beyond that, it could actually go as far as 1 million, 1.2, 1.3, 1.5. Why? Because there are things that you can still claim to ensure that you don't pay any tax on them. What are those things? Number one, they call them eligible deductions. I'll tell you about some of them. Number one is the fact that the rent. The rent one is available, 200,000. It's available, but you can claim as much as 500,000 rent. But for you to claim that, the law is saying, this one is a funny one. The law is saying you must show your rent receipts, okay? You must show them and give them details of your landlord, okay? Give them details of your landlord, because the law will now, they will now go after the landlord to ensure that the landlord is paying what's it called, taxes on that income, that rental income that he's getting. Okay, so please, if you have any questions, drop the questions. We'll address them at the end of this thing, at the end of this session. But let's just keep going. Okay, so what are these critical preparation areas? Okay, what you should do. I've already told you some, that you should start keeping records. If you were not keeping records, you should start being intentional and doing it well. Okay, so there are some immediate things you need to do right now, as in right now, within the next 30 days. You need to do them. Yes, we have 6 months within which we need to prepare ourselves. Just so, but you need to begin to put things in place to meet up. What do you do? Immediate actions within the next 30 days. You need a complete and accurate revenue assessment. How much are you really making in your business? You need to be clear, because if you're not, in fact, the systems that have been set up by the tax authority is in such a way that the tax authority themselves very soon will be able to send you how much you earned. As in, they will send you a tax bill and say, pay so and so tax. Your income for year 2025 was, and your tax is pay within the next 2 weeks. That is what is going to happen. So, in your own interest, you better know it. Okay? You better know it. How much am I making? You better know it. Not just that you should know it, you should also know what constitutes expenses. You should have records. It is not just that you tell you, I had so amount of expense. No, it is not enough. It is your records that will bear you witness. The receipts, the audit trail that tells the tax authority, this is what you did. This is what it was an expense. Okay, I did so and so training. Okay, I paid for so and so I paid for so and so item. Okay, I bought so and so thing for my business. I did transportation. Okay, data cost, this and that. There must be records of those things that were expenses. Okay, so you need those. So you need a complete and accurate revenue assessment. You need to implement basic record systems. At all is bad. At least, even if you cannot afford the softwares that are available, you can at least use an Excel sheet. You can also use a Google sheet, okay? But you need to keep records. Then you need to register for necessary tax identification, and that is with your state's Internal Revenue Service and with the Federal Inland Revenue Service. You need to register. Especially if you already have a business, you need to register. In fact, you know why very soon, okay? You need to have a current status assessment. What is your current status, okay? Where do you stand as far as your 2025 revenue and fixed assets stands? Why is that important? The law has stated clearly that it is companies that are 50 million or in turnover or 250 million in assets. So you as a business owner, do you know what is your turnover? What is it? You need to know what is your assets. Assets are the things you have, that you have that you use that you use to produce the revenue of the business. For instance, maybe you have a house, okay, that's a company a house that you use. Maybe you have a car that you use to run your business, okay. Maybe you have even a software is an asset. Okay, maybe you have a software architecture that you've put in place. They cost quite a good amount of money. Maybe you have all of those things. Those are those high ticket value items. Okay, those are assets for the business because you keep using them. They are not like things that you use, like your goods that you buy and you sell. It's finished and you go back and sell. No, assets, you keep using them again and again to service the business. So what assets do you have? Okay, the law is saying if you have assets worth 250 million naira, you're still a small business. Okay, if once it shoots beyond 250 million naira, you're no longer a small business as far as the tax law is concerned. Good. So you need to know it now in 2025 because January 2025, 1st of January 2026, that law now directly affects you. If your status now meets any of these criteria, then you should know. Don't wait for anybody to tell you. You should know that you're a big company. Okay, so 2026 planning now kicks in. You need, with this knowledge now, you can now structure in order to maximize the 50 million naira revenue or your 250 million naira asset exemption. You need this information to be able to do what you're supposed to do next. You need this information for you to be able to come to people like us, to be able to say, okay, this is what you do, this is what you do, this is how you arrange things, okay, this is what you do next. Okay, for you to be able to maximize, minimize what you pay, okay? Then your asset management, strategic timing or fixed asset acquisition. With this knowledge now, we now know what to do for all of these things that I'm listing here thereafter. Revenue structuring. With this knowledge, you need to do your own homework first, okay, for you to be able to do the next thing that I have highlighted. Critical preparations, we are still on it. Business structure analysis. I've been saying small company, small company, small company. Guys, if you have a business name, you are not a small company. You are not. You are not one of those the law is talking about. No, the law is not talking about you. As a small company, as a sole proprietor, as a business name, there is no separation between you and your business. So in your case, you'll just be filing your personal income tax. And then you would have listed the income of your business, the expenses of your business, and any other income you have listed. And then you now go and they will now come and apply the personal income tax rates to you as an individual. Are you seeing that? So if you want to be able to enjoy this small company, if you know your business is already making millions and millions, like the law is saying, that is even maybe 50 million or more, or close to it, or even 10 million, 5 million, 10 million, don't forget that as an individual, the law is only saying you only have 800,000 that is free and clear at 0%. So if as a business, you're already earning way beyond that, you're earning in the millions, then of course, you shouldn't be having a business name, guys. You shouldn't. You should do something about it very fast before the 6 months is up. Okay? Partnership restructuring, the same thing. Normally, partnership is made up of individuals, and then these individuals, at the end, they divide their profits among themselves. You're still individuals. So do something. There are limited liability partnerships. So if you want to qualify as a small company, then you better do something about it as well. Okay, holding company setup. If you have multiple streams of income, and then these multiple streams of income also yield lots and lots of money, then you may consider, separating them to their specifics so that you can be able to optimize and minimize your taxes. I'm already giving you things to do free of charge. Are you seeing that? Very, very clear. Please, I need to be appreciated. If you're getting value, I need to be seeing some reactions. Please, don't wait for me to ask you. Let me have some reactions. Let me be sure that I'm making sense. I'm making sense. Am I making sense? Let's see. Let's see. Am I making sense? I'm waiting for you. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. You have to respond. You have to be giving me feedback that something is happening, that you're understanding, that I'm not too fast. I need feedback, okay? I need feedback, all right? I need feedback. Okay, great. I'm making sense. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. All right. So you need digital business classification. You have to ensure proper categorization for your new digital, for the new digital taxes. I told you I'm going to talk about that soon. Okay. Then you need a payee restructuring, salary versus benefits. The law has put everything together. You need to understand how those things work. Okay. You need to be working with certified professionals. This is no longer the era. It's not the era of going to the tax office and asking one tax quack to go and get you a tax clearance. No, it will not work because the law, the revenue bodies are already seeing what you're earning. So you'll be doing yourself a great disfavor. In fact, you'll be piling up liability waiting for you. Okay, that's what is going to happen to you if you don't do the right thing at the right time. Then you need to stay updated. Like just like the law has just come up, and I told you it is a complete overhaul of the system as it was before now. So therefore, you need to continue to keep stay aware, because these changes, there will be more and more guidelines being exposed, being put forward. So we need to be able to understand all of these guidelines. So now you need to master the new numbers. I asked some business owners, what are your numbers? And they did not know that what their numbers are. As a business owner, you should know some numbers: your turnover, your profit, your creditors, your debtors. Some things, you should just know some of these numbers. So now there are some new numbers for you to take note of. For instance, the 50 million turnover, are you within or are you above, within, or below it? You need to know. 250 million naira assets. As a business owner, is your business below, above, or within it? What is it? Then the exemption, pay as you earn, 83,000 naira minimum. Okay, for me to get 83,000 naira, you have 800,000 naira at 0% for every single person for their taxes. Beautiful. So, but based on this 800,000 naira, okay, we also have 200,000 rents that is available for us. Okay, so that's like 1 million naira for everybody. Okay, so if you multiply 83,000 by 12, it gives you like close to 1 million naira, like 996. Okay, 996. So it's 83.33 thereabouts. Okay, will give you 1 million naira. So everybody already is entitled to this one. So you should be able to work within it and ensure that this one is free and clear for everybody. Then we now have what I call the new taxes. Okay, the digital taxes. I said I will explain them later, and this is where I'm explaining them. We have the digital taxes, 5% platform fees, and 10% virtual assets. Okay, what does it mean? If you use an app or a website, let's say, for instance, you want to order a ride, you want to order a boat ride and all that. What you don't know is that the ride you usually order, okay, that there is a platform fee that is built into the fare that you usually pay. You may not have realized it, but there is a fee like that. And they usually collect it, the boat company usually collects it from the driver, okay, from the driver's returns. They deduct it from the amount. So now the government is saying, no, you cannot just, that fee that you're charging everybody who is hailing a ride or using your platform for one thing or the other, Okay, that fee that the government, I need 5% of it. So that is the 5% platform fee. Okay, then there's a 10% virtual assets. Okay, for all of us, most of us, especially those of us who have been doing a lot of crypto transactions, we have been dealing with platforms like Binance and all of those other wallets that we work with. Okay, and these are the ones we call virtual assets providers. They are the virtual assets providers. So the Binance, all of those platforms through I've forgotten their names now. I only remember Binance and all of those wallets. You know, they charge some fees. Okay. So the government is saying 10% of the fees that are charged for those virtual assets, the government is now charging it as tax. So this one, you don't really need to worry about it because those platforms are the ones to take care of it. They'll just know that they will deduct it when you're doing transactions with them. Okay. So there is 10% excise duty, okay, on virtual asset provider services. That's what so the rate versus the new rates. And you can see that this tax law is actually a very, very good thing. I hope you're hearing me because my internet is worrying me. Okay, so these are the old rates and these are the new rates. Okay, that's for you to see that the tax law is very, 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 very robust and pro-poor. Okay, it favors the poor. It's trying to make us have more money in our hands. But even as the government is doing that, is now saying the government is not ready to tolerate anybody that chooses not to be a taxpayer. And you're going to see that very soon. So these are the tax rates. If you want to dissect it further, you can take a screenshot while we go on. Okay, so how do you position for growth as business owners? You want to grow. You want grants. You want loans. You want investors, guys. If you want any of those things, then you better begin to put your act together as a business owner because funders need responsible promoters to support. They need some responsible business owners to support. Okay, they need people who are compliant, tax compliant, who have tax clearances. In fact, these things will be needed before they disburse any grants to you. So you better get your act together. Even as a business name, okay, you need your own personal tax clearance. They need it. They need your own evidence that you're paying taxes. They need it. So you need clean books. You need books, that show what you're doing. Your partners, your potential investors need all of those things. Investors use tax and corporate affairs CAC records to verify your business claims. Okay. And I put a quick story there, how one client, 7.5 million naira grant, simply because her books, tallied with what she was telling the funders. That's what happened. And then recently, this particular story is very important. Shola, she was applying for a MasterCard partnership. Okay. And in the process, she was just progressing. She didn't know she had gotten far in the processing. Guess how they used to knock off majority of persons? On Friday, let's say today is Saturday, let's say like yesterday evening, Friday evening, they sent her a mail. Okay, they sent her a mail, and then the mail said she should provide all manner of documents, including her tax identification, her business registration papers, her tax clearances for the past how many years. They listed and listed and listed. Guys, If you did not already have this thing, have financial statements, all of those things, if you did not already have all of these things, tell me, where are you going to get it? And she was supposed to submit it on Monday morning. She was supposed to scan all of them and send them a mail by Monday morning. So tell me, if you did not already have those records, how would you have produced it between Friday night and Monday morning? Okay, so that is for you to understand that these things need to be done, and they need to be done now. Okay, if you're supposed to stay relevant. Okay, why is this even more important now? Because there are consequences. There are consequences for non-compliance. There is late filing. In fact, I'm not even going to read it. You can take a screenshot, but just for you to know that there are consequences. There's consequences for late filing. There's consequences for VAT non-filing. If you have decided to start filing VAT, if you decide not to stop, if you decide not to continue again, there are consequences. If you fail to register as a taxpayer, I told you to go and register in your state and in the federal. If you fail to register, there are consequences. Okay? If you as a business owner, you want to transact business with somebody who is not registered, again, the law provides that you should use their NIN. Are you seeing? You should use their NIN. If for any reason they do not have a tax identification number, you should use their NIN to deduct that tax. Withhold the tax. I told you that the withholding tax regulation has put the power in the hands of taxpayers. So you're supposed to withhold that tax from that person that you have done business with. That money you want to pay the person, you need to withhold some portion of it and remit to the government. You need to deduct it and withhold it as a business owner. If you, as a business owner, do not do that, there are consequences for you. You're going to see that very soon. Okay, there's 5 million naira for if you award a contract to an unregistered person, somebody who is not registered for tax purposes, and you award a contract to such a person, you are now liable, you that gave the person the contract, you're now liable to 5 million naira as a penalty. That's for doing the wrong thing, for supporting the wrong thing. Okay, there's also a penalty of 40% on the amount of tax if you did not deduct or withhold, okay, from that person who you did business with, who had no tax identification number. You did not use their NIN to deduct. The law is saying that you are now liable to 40% of that amount that you were supposed you did not deduct. Do you understand? So there are consequences, and this law is not smiling. Number one, it has made things easier for us, but it's also saying if you now choose to not be part of the solution, then there are consequences for it. Then there's mandatory technology compliance. There's a fine of 5 million naira for refusal to grant access for deploying e-invoicing. This one, right now, the tax authority is conducting it with the large taxpayers. It's not something we can go in now. In other words, you need to start issuing invoice such that the tax authority will immediately be aware when you're issuing an invoice for somebody to pay you for a product or a service. That's where we're going, but it has not yet been rolled down to a small business. The smaller businesses now for the very large taxpayers, okay, that the ones are doing it. So this law has now introduced new penalties for non-filing, for using unregistered suppliers, for blocking technology deployments. So these are new penalties that have been included in this tax law. Penalties continue. Penalties continue. If you declare falsely or evasion, or you still try to dodge, okay, you still try to dodge, in fact, I told you you'll be caught. Why? Because remember when they were telling us to link our BVN and our NIN to our bank accounts, to our phone numbers, all of those things were heading here. This where they were heading. All of those actions were heading here. Okay. Right now, with just your phone number, everything about you, they don't need to know your house. They don't need to know your house. okay? Or everything about you, your liability will be sent to you, will be sent to your phone, will be sent to your email, it will be sent to you, okay? So there is no hiding place. Why you should avoid, this is why you should avoid evasion more than ever, because the Nigeria Revenue Service, or formerly FIRS, is collaborating with banks, is collaborating with CAC, is collaborating with immigration, is collaborating with all those payments platforms, Payoneer, Wise, just name them, name all of them. They are collaborating. All those monies, you think that because those monies are in those wallets or in their, no, they are not hidden, guys. Sorry, they are not. Okay, tax defaults can now lead to, you have they will dealings with other businesses. In fact, visa applications. We want to jackpot, right? Oh yeah, now come and go now. Okay, because you don't have a tax history, you would have issues. Okay, these penalties are high and they're not smiling. In fact, your brand reputation is at stake, because one of the things they are planning to do is to publish the names of people who are evading or not doing any of those things. These are the measures that they are putting in place. These are the measures that will kick in when this thing starts. Okay, all of this anti-evasion, this thing. Why was it necessary? Because this is according to the FIRS boss. He said, right now, as we speak, right now, out of 200 million Nigerians, only 19% right now, as at today, right now, look at this. If you look at the paper, this is May 29, 2025. Okay, just a little over a month ago. Now, only 19% of Nigerians pay taxes. And majority of these people that pay taxes are people who are employees. Okay, so their employers already have to remit taxes on their behalf. That is why this 19% is even paying. So for that reason, the government is saying no, no, no. That is why all of these measures are so stringent. That is why they have made the payment so easy for us. Okay, freezing of bank accounts, all kinds of things, imprisonment, all of these are things that they will do. Okay, again, I'm saying it again. Why is this era risky? It's very risky for people who choose not to comply, who choose, and in fact, you want to say, I don't know. I don't know is not an excuse. The tax reform has been so noisy all over the place. All that they have been doing, all the issues that have been coming up, it has been all over the news. So you cannot claim not to be aware of these changes. So right now there is real-time data from CAC, from JAM. If you see JAM now, you don't laugh, okay? JAM, because if you, as a student, you are making money, you have income, you are supposed to declare, you're supposed to file, you're supposed to pay taxes if there's a taxable element. Do you see? So that is the position. So there are records from all of these places, payments gateways, Flutterwave, what's it called? Paystack, all of them, there's cooperation all over the place between the federal and the states, everywhere. There's cooperation, integration of tech. There is AI audit flags that will flag things. There is digital payment tracking. When that payment drops, that payments from that your YouTube earnings, that's your content, whatever, when that payment drops, okay, you want to leave it in your dollar wallet, no problem. You will still need money for one thing or the other. You will now pull money into your Nigerian account. It is tracked. And besides, they have dealings, they have dealings with this payments, all these payment platforms already. Okay, there are agreements already with these payment platforms. Okay, so there's no tax, no access to public tenders, grants, foreign remittances. So you need to register and pay your tax if you make an income. Okay, even as a freelancer or as an affiliate marketer, a YouTuber, content creator, remote worker, crypto, any type of thing that you do for income. Okay, as a business owner, you're a business owner. So you may as well get it right now. Okay, your income is easily tracked from Wise, GPay, Paystack. I've said it before. Anyone, just name it. So what are the smart ways? How can you stay compliant? Okay, how can you stay compliant? One, you need to choose the right structure. Okay, depending on your income level, do you want to remain as an enterprise or a limited part or a limited liability company or a partnership or a cooperative? You need to know based on your business type. Okay, you need to keep adequate records. We're saying this thing over and over again because they cannot be oversaid. Okay, you need to use software, keep records some one way or the other. You need to register for VAT. This one is very important. Register for VAT only if it is required. If you're a small company, then you have no need to register for VAT. Okay, but if you have input and output VAT and it's actually significant, then you may need to register so that it is only by registering and filing that you can claim your inputs, the inputs that you made. Okay, so then you need to register. So there is need for training and capacity building. So you need to thank DeckWise, as I'm not charging for this, for this knowledge. Okay, you need to train for training and capacity building for yourself, for your team members to be aware, to know what to do and when to do it. You need to assess the financial and strategic impact of these laws on you, on your own business. Okay, you need to assess it and structure it accordingly. You need to restructure your business operations as necessary. Okay, if you're already hitting the 50 million naira mark, or you already have so many businesses and they're all doing well, you may need to register separate businesses, for them. So for that reason, still along this goodwill, for everyone that is on this call, let me see how many people here. Beautiful. I've taken the number. Everybody here is entitled to a free clarity call, 15 minutes clarity call. But before then, I'll send you a questionnaire that you answer so that my 15 minutes is 15 minutes. I'll be able to guide you for your own special use case. Okay, for your own special use case, depending on what you do, so that you know what to prepare and what to put in place. Okay, that's it. Key numbers that every business owner should know. Okay, this one you just take a screenshot. I'm not going to explain it. You can always Google them up, but take a screenshot but as a business owner, okay, these are numbers that you should know. Okay, these are numbers that you should know. You should know your monthly revenue, your profits, your whether it's gross or net, your break-even points, your cash, your expenses breakdown, your tax numbers, tax identification number, all of those things you should know. Debtors, creditors, salary. You should just know some of those things at the tip of your finger. Okay, very, very important. Very, very important. So now we have come to the end of it. We're almost there. We're almost there. Okay. So these Nigerians' new tax exemptions, they are game changers, guys. They are game changers. But only if you know, one, you are aware of it and you know how to maximize them. I help entrepreneurs and professionals turn these exemptions into wealth building opportunities through strategic tax planning and smart personal finance. I ensure you stay compliant, grow strategically, and build lasting wealth. Whether you're exempt right now, today, and you know that may not last because that figure is not so much. And it's talking about sales, it's talking about turnover, it's not talking about profit, sales, turnover. That 50 million you're talking about turnover, whichever one you hit first, whether you hit 250 million in terms of assets or you hit sales of 50 million, you transit from small company to big company. Okay, so I help you stay, whether exempt today or you're planning for tomorrow, whichever one it is. And this is my Instagram ID. I'm known as the Money Mastery Coach on Instagram. Or on my LinkedIn profile, you can also reach me on my LinkedIn profile. Thank you so much for listening. I believe you'll be putting questions down and we can quickly address those questions. If you have been putting questions down, we can quickly address those questions. All right. So let me see. Check the.
Awesome.
Go on, you can talk. Go on, I want to look at the chat. Yeah.
Yes. So, yeah, we're going to take questions. I would love you to. This is really very exciting section. Honestly, you might want to kind of allow people to speak.
Okay,
Allow people to be able to unmute their mics. I
no
think in your
problem.
setting you kind of restricted that, so you can allow other people to speak
Okay,
so
let
that
me
they
check it.
can
Yeah.
ask questions directly. So yeah, so but I think to me this was really exciting. I'm glad that we had this section because man, at the point I felt like this is a school. This is not something we can finish in just 1 hour 30 minutes. I tell you guys, I'm really glad that we have Mrs. Victoria in this community, and this is one section, the privilege of having her
Yeah,
again.
privilege of having her again. Sorry, I had to, join with my phone now. Okay, so
Okay.
hello, can you hear me, Ma?
Very well, yes.
Okay, awesome. Right. So please, if you have questions, right? If you have a question, you can just simply unmute your
Mohammed,
mic.
raise your hands so that you can
Okay, yeah, raise
unmute.
your hand. You could just raise your hand. I'm sure a lot of people have questions. I'm very, very sure because me, I have some questions as well. But I'm going to just allow everyone who has a question to ask their questions.
Mohammed has already indicated.
Okay,
Ask
okay,
the
Mohammed,
question.
go ahead, please. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you so much, ma. I was invited by Mr. Ola Judu. Thank you so much, sir, for this section. It was really impactful. For me, I think I'm a victim. I'm one of those that don't actually pay tax. And I think I think government is going to get cut of me now. So for us that have been victim that are not paying tax before now, what do you think we need to do now ahead of January 2026? That's one. Secondly, um, is pharmaceutical products still exemption on the new tax reform?
Yes,
Okay.
medications are exempted from VAT.
Okay.
But
Okay.
if you're doing a business as a pharmaceutical company, then your company, not your company that is exempted, is paying of VAT on those products that's exempted. You get the
Okay.
difference. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So the first question is
Okay,
what do we need to do now?
the first question is do you have a company or you're talking as an individual?
No, no, as a company.
Okay, as a company, what kind of company? Limited or
Yeah, limited liability.
limited liability? Okay, number one is you need to go and register with FIRS. How long have you
Okay.
been in existence?
Since 2022.
Okay, but when did you start business?
2020 for personal transactions, but business was in 2022.
Okay, okay,
Mm.
um, okay. So number one, you need to go and start. You need to register with FIRS. Get a tax identification number. That's where you need to start, and then because you have been operating, and you've been operating with that company, right?
Yes.
You have a bank account
Yeah.
in that company name.
Yes.
Okay, that means you must have opened that account before, because right now you cannot open an account without a tax identification number.
No, there was a tax identification number on the CSC right from time.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So yeah, okay.
Yes.
Otherwise, you wouldn't have been able to open an account. So now, so that's tax identification number now. There may even be some tax liability that are accrued against you without your knowledge.
Okay.
But so that means you're already registered. So what you now need to do is we need to check your status. That's what needs to be done.
Okay.
To know what is even
Okay.
happening. Yeah.
The third question, sorry, I'm taking much of your
No, it's
time,
okay. It's okay.
so what do we need to do as business owner in order to maneuver these different taxes from different angles? in order to actually save from paying a lot of these taxes to
Okay,
government.
if you listen to me, first of all, are you within the threshold or beyond the threshold? That's where you should start.
No, we're beyond, far
You're
beyond.
beyond the threshold. If you're beyond the threshold, is it only pharmaceutical this thing that you do?
Yes.
Oh, okay. If you're beyond the threshold, then you're a big company. And everything, according to the law, you're a big company. Then everything sets in and all eyes will be on you. So you need to start doing, do you have an accountant in your company?
Yeah, we do. We have,
Okay.
yeah, we do.
Okay, so do you keep good records? Do you have a software? Do you have an accounting program or software?
Yeah, we do, but you know, Nigerian businessmen, we have this, we are guilty of this combining.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So within the next 2-3 months, you need to first of
Yes.
all clean up, do some of these things that I've said you should do. Clean up.
Okay.
That's some of those instructions that I said. That's dipping hands into your separate,
Business
yeah,
corporate
separate
account.
personal from business totally, as in totally. Separate total.
Okay.
Hmm?
So, sorry,
Yes, it's okay.
Mr. Olajudu is actually correcting me. For
Yeah.
me, my own business is it's under traditional herbs, traditional alternative medicine.
Okay. Do you have a business?
Yes. So no, he is asking. I mean, he's trying to correct me because I say pharmaceutical.
Oh, okay.
But
You said pharmaceutical. Oh, okay.
yes. So he's correcting me that it's traditional alternative medicine. So do we have
Okay.
exemption, VAT
Yeah.
exemption too?
Number one, you operate in Lagos, right?
Abuja and Lagos. Yeah, we operate in both Lagos and Abuja.
Okay. Why I mentioned Lagos is because it's Lagos among all the states in Nigeria. I think Lagos and maybe Ogun State that really, really recognize traditional and alternative medicine.
Yes.
Do you understand? So,
Yes.
um, I'm not sure to what extent you would be able to defend that exemption for traditional and alternative medicine products in other states. But this is a federal thing. Okay, but this is something we need to explore. Number one, it can be defended that these are medicines, you understand?
Mhm.
So we at least we have a case to be able to use in the
Yes.
first instance. Exactly. So, but what is specified were medications, pharmaceutical medications. It did not clearly state that you could be included. So that kind of thing needs to be explored. So I
Okay.
cannot give you I cannot say yes, it's exempted or
Thank you.
not.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Mama. Mr. Olajudu. They've given me exploits. Thank you. Thank you so much, ma. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I really appreciate this section. I'm going to follow you on what I mean Instagram, and also share your
LinkedIn.
page with my community to see other people to come learn and probably pay for your services. Thank
Yes.
you so much, ma.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we could organize a proper training for all of them.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
A lot of my colleagues are guilty of this. A lot of us were guilty of
We
tax.
need to clean it up before the 6 months is up.
If not for Mr. Olajuju sef, even now I will still be guilty, but he's helping us gradually to correct a lot of mistakes we've been
Yes,
making in the
very
past years. Yeah.
okay. All
Thank
right.
you, ma'am.
Next person, Mr. Treasure, moderate now.
Yes.
You're
Thank you so
laughing.
much. I'm really learning a lot from today's section, honestly. So I have Gloria. Gloria, you
Yes.
can go ahead and ask your question.
Hello, good evening, and thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Good evening.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, I'm very green in all these tax things. That's why I decided to join. Now,
Okay.
you're talking about the personal income taxes, right?
Yeah.
And then you said if somebody has like a business name or something,
Doesn't
it's
qualify.
the taxes you you record the taxes from those businesses in your personal business, the personal income tax or something. Is that what
Okay.
you said? I don't
Okay, no,
really
let me
understand.
explain again. Okay, let me explain again.
Mm.
If you have a business name, legally,
Yes.
having a business name, there's no separation between you, the owner, and the business
Okay.
on a legal basis. So when it comes to paying
Okay.
your taxes now, your taxes, all your own income, the business income, and any other income you may have made, all of it, you account for tax with all of it as you.
Okay.
Do you get it? Yeah. But when you have a limited liability company, then a limited liability company is an entity on its own. While you, as an individual, is also another entity on your own. Are you seeing it?
Okay.
So the limited liability company has can be sued on its own. But you, if they want to sue your company, your enterprise, they are suing you as an
Really?
individual. Yes.
Okay. Now,
Yes.
sorry, I still have like, okay, for me now, although I had like registered some business names years back, but I had not like used them. I'm just about to start using it because I'm through with a few things now. So how do I go about that?
If you have
And
not
then even
used,
like doing taxes and
no, wait,
into
don't even rush first. Wait. If you have not
okay,
been using them, then there's a likelihood that they are what's the word in
inactive.
CAC? They are
Inactive.
inactive in CAC. So that's where
Yes,
you start.
actually, one of they were inactive, so I just
Okay, you
reactivated
have
one of them
reactivated.
now.
Beautiful. If you have reactivated, then
Yes,
you're already on course.
with
Yeah.
CAC.
Yeah, you react.
But
Okay, you're on course.
the, then how do I go about the tax part? Because I thought, okay, I've reactivated with CAC, and I knew that I
Okay.
needed to
When,
sort out
first of all,
taxes
you need
as
to
well.
check. You need to check when you register them. Sometimes when you register a company, I think CSC, I can't remember exactly when they started it. When you register a company,
Yes,
they give you a tax identification number immediately. So you need to
yes,
confirm. Okay,
with
they
one
do.
of them, yes, with
Okay,
the one I
so
reactivated, yes,
so assuming it did not have, then you would have now had to go
yes.
and get that number. But since it
Okay,
has,
if I
mm,
the ones that there's one that does not have that I
then
need
you
to
need to
get
go
the
to
number for. How
FRS.
do I do it?
You need to go to
Okay,
FRS to apply for a number. And even the one that has,
okay.
you need to apply for a VAT number. It's just
So
a
I
simple
saw you said
letter.
the VAT was optional if you
It is
wanted or
optional, but it
not.
doesn't mean you shouldn't have you need to have a number down because your
Oh,
business can
okay.
cross
But
the thresholds. You can be below
at
today.
any time.
Next month you have crossed.
Okay, so it's not as um if I like apply for a VAT number,
Yeah.
that does not mean that I have to start like
No,
using
it
it.
doesn't mean. It doesn't mean. It's just that you should have it so that you can file. You can now opt in to file or not to file. That is another matter entirely.
Okay.
But every
Then you
business,
also
even enterprise,
so
every business should have a VAT number.
okay. So I don't have to go to FIRC office, have we?
Yes, it can actually be done on.
Okay,
No, I'm not sure of VAT online, but tax identification
okay,
number can be done online. But you just need to
okay,
write a simple letter to FRS, and they will give you all of those numbers.
okay. So I
Mm.
also wanted to ask, you mentioned that, for me personally, I've never been doing personal income taxes and all those things. So I really needed to know how to go
Are
about
you
all
an
this.
employee or you do your own
Well,
business?
right now I just want to start fully like my own like
Okay, but
business
before
kind
now
of
you
thing.
were
Although I've been
working.
doing businesses here and there, but
Mm.
do you understand?
Yeah, so your case is not different. In fact, that's why the government is giving us 6 months for us
Okay.
to clean up and line up. But most people, of course, will not do it. So you see a lot of helter-skelter by the time the thing starts.
Okay, so what do I need to do now to do like
To
if I
do
want
now
to
is
like
to
my
do,
personal
I've
income
given
tax?
instructions already in my presentation. Go register.
Okay.
Go get those numbers. Go
You
register.
know that
Begin to keep
okay.
records. Okay?
For person
If
even for personal one as well? Because you said business name is basically personal.
Yes, the business name, you have all the companies you have, are they business names or are they limited? Or they are all
Yeah,
business?
well, there's most of them are business names. But I have a
Depending on the
limited liability,
depending on the kind of
but most
business
of
you
them
want
are.
to do. Okay, depending on the kind of business you want to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And if you already have an idea
Okay.
of the kind of income that will accrue on them, then it may be
Mm-hmm.
wise to register just the same name. You just go and upgrade to a limited liability company. Depending on the incomes you think it will the business will yield.
Okay. Now I wanted to ask another one. You know that we have LIRS, we have FIRS,
Yes.
right? We have the Lagos
Yes.
State Inland Revenue Service, we have the
Yes.
Federal Inland
Yes.
Revenue Service. So is it
Yes.
like one has to register with both, or how does it work?
Yes, it is registered with both. One is the state, it's your personal income tax as an individual and pay as you earn for your employees. It is Lagos State
Yeah.
that will
Okay.
it is Lagos State that you pay to LIRS, and LIRS their platform online. You can easily go and register and get a number there. Then
Okay, so I don't need to go to FIRS.
no, LIRS, you don't need to go to their office.
No, what I'm saying is, there's LIRS,
Yeah,
there's
that's something. Lagos Internal
FIRS.
Revenue Service.
So
Yes.
now,
You can
because
use
I
their
live in Lagos,
online.
it's Lagos that is the LIRS I register with. I don't need to register with FIRS.
No.
But I
FIRS, you
need to
need to
register
register with
with
FIRS.
both.
That's where FIRS is where you get your tax, your VAT number.
But
are you confused? Don't be confused. But
like
anyway,
now,
Okay,
for my
let me. I
personal
think
income,
sorry, Ms.
to help
Gloria.
her.
Let me kind of put a bit of context to her question. So,
Okay.
I also had the same question as well. Sometimes I'm asking myself, I'm having like, am I supposed to? I'm in Lagos. Am I supposed to go to LROS? Am I also going to go to FIRS? Like, can't I? If I go to LROS, do I need to still go to FIRS to do this whole tax stuff? And then, so the answer you're giving is it that you have to go to those two individual? Are they working independent of each other?
Yes.
Oh,
Let me
okay.
let me share this slide again. You saw the slides where I said the Nigerian Tax Administration Act provides for the assessment, collection, and accounting for revenue accruing to federal, state, and local governments. Taxes are collected at all of these levels. So for personal income tax especially, and pay as you earn simply refers to employees, okay? Then but you as a business owner, their personal income tax, okay? They are the same thing, just on who it's the accrues to, okay? It is due to states. Personal income tax for police, navy, and the government officials, maybe diplomats, is due to federal. But every other citizen, personal income tax is due to their state of residence. And the local governments, they are supposed to collect some levies and all of that. Okay, so now you see why you need to register with both. The Federal Inland Revenue Service, or NRS now, will collect for companies and all the taxes due to all of these government establishments that I have listed. Okay, but every other individual, their taxes are due to the states. And I have explained that if it's a business name, then there's no difference between you and the business name. So therefore, your taxes are due to the states. Okay, so that should clear it now. So you need to register with both.
Ms. Gloria, did it make sense now?
All right, thank you so much. So, you mentioned because there was a time I needed maybe tax clearance or something.
Can you speak up?
Can you hear me?
Yes, speak up, just louder.
Okay. So so right now all I need to do is just go to LIRS and you said I can do it online.
Yeah, you can do it online on their website.
Do my registration, because there was a time I just went person just looked at me and gave me one high tax something. I was wondering, so those things don't work and don't happen anymore. You just,
It will be
anyway,
based on your
I'll
income.
go online.
Yeah.
I'll go online and check it out. Thank you so much. I'm very grateful. Thank you so much. And
All
so
right,
that
thank
we
you
can
so
still reach
much. Yeah, so I
tomorrow,
just sent. Yeah, I just sent
about
a.
1:15 something.
Yeah, so I just sent a message to the group, to the chat. So we have a group which is Deckwise, and that's even the community that powers this section. Feel free to join the group. You can always reach out to me. She's in the group as well. She is a member of the group, a very solid member of the group, and she's part of this. And I'm really looking at having this section. Even, I know there's a lot of questions, but and Mrs. Victoria is already, obviously very exhausted, having to be in this call for almost 1 hour, 40 minutes, right? So I'm going to just ask if there's any. So I saw a question on the chat. It said, tax identification number. How can my TIN status be checked? TIN status. I don't know if I can understand that question.
Okay, no, yeah, this person, that means Shinemere, that means they probably has already, sometimes when you register a company, they give you a TIN already from CAC. So, but if you have never filed taxes, then there is a likelihood that there may be taxes that have accrued under that your name. I told you of that lady, because there are some transactions that the FRS can track and they don't know where to find you, because Nigerians, and if you have never come forward, there's a lot for them to do already, so they won't bother to start looking for somebody that has not come forward. So there may be some tax obligations that have accrued on your name or on the tax identification number. So in that case, I think that's what he's talking about. So yeah, for that, so just supply your tax identification number, and I'll just send it to somebody and let them check their system if there's anything.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Ma. So the instruction is, you can join the group, send me a message, and so I'll forward I could even highlight Mrs. Victoria's number so you can send her a message directly. And then, also, if there's any question, please, can I, maybe if there's any, I will just take one more question, and I think we'll call it for a night already. So if you have a question, maybe just raise up your hand and you could unmute your mic quickly. But I really want us to appreciate Mrs. Victoria for today's section. I would love us to, if you go on the group, share your feedback on the group, right? So that she can have a very detailed feedback, right? It's necessary, because what she's doing is not just, helping business owners, is to align them properly to build for the next generation. And if you're not compliant, you cannot build a solid business, So please join the group, click on join the group, and send your feedback so that she can get your feedback, right? So, but please, if you have a question, kindly unmute your mic, raise up your hand and unmute your mic so that we can call it a night already. If you have a question, please just raise up your hand, unmute your mic, and you can ask a question. Okay, so I'm assuming there's no more questions. Awesome. Okay, thank you so much, Mrs. Victoria. Honestly, this is my personal feedback to you, and probably you can record this later. Can record this, but I must be very honest. Having to speak to you in the last few days and weeks, we've had constant conversations. One of the things that have stood out for me is the fact that you have been consistent with this, and I'm really excited because one, I'm personally going to really learn a lot from this process. But beyond that, a lot of entrepreneurs in our community would have access to quality knowledge when it comes to compliance and tax management. And you guys can attest to the fact that today's section was really enlightening. You brought your A game and you really made it so to our level, because sometimes whenever I join classes that are in this magnitude, there's a lot of jargon.
They
Most
don't
times,
make it relatable. Yes.
yes, it's not relatable. A lot of jargons, and I'm almost lost before the class ends. And I'm like, okay, I'm lost. I don't know what's by saying. But you've made this whole tax law stuff. Like at the point I was trying to read the entire policy, I was really not catching it as much. The jargons were much.
No, it's law.
So the
The way
laws,
law is, tax is law, so you won't get it.
exactly. So I personally could not even catch it. And I'm glad I listened to this section today. I paid keen attention. It was very insightful. And I'm really grateful to you for your time. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Ma. Please join the group, and I would love everyone to share your feedback. You may not need to share it here because of time, but if you can, join the group and share your feedback on the group. It could just take you like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. You just type your takeaway and your feedback. Send a very solid appreciation to Mrs. Victoria. She has done so well, and we really appreciate her. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. This section is powered by Deckwise. Deckwise Africa is a community specifically designed to give entrepreneurs in Africa the soft landing they need, information, resources, opportunities to ensure that they have all the resources they need to grow well, right? The right relationship, the right environment. That's what we're trying to do, right? And that's what this section aims to achieve as well, to equip you rightly for the tax processes, the new tax reform policy, So without further ado, I'll leave you with these words. Don't sleep on information, right? Follow up with information. Get to know how it affects you as a business person. Because what would differentiate you from the rest is the information you have today and how you implement that information. Mrs. Victoria, do you have any parting words for anyone before we leave?
No.
I see
Everybody
Dan.
should just get their act together. Just start doing some of those things. Yeah.
Dan, do you want to say something? You're muting your mic. Okay, I guess he wanted to just leave. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. All right, do have a nice day. Do have a nice night. I think you can end the call now, Ma. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye-bye. Good night, everyone.
Bye.